Okay guys, this is for lesson 6.7, subtracting mixed numbers. It's really similar to the lesson we had today on adding mixed numbers. So there's just a few simple steps. Just like when we added mixed numbers, we start from the right and go left. So you start with the fraction, so you ignore the whole number to begin with, and then after we're done with the fraction, you move over to the whole number. So here's our steps. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract the fractions. But to do that, remember we have to have a common denominator. So right now we have 3 2/3 minus 1 11/12. We don't have a common denominator, so we can't subtract these numbers. So the first thing we need to do is find a common denominator. So I already know, I'm not going to go through all the steps because you guys should know how to do that by now. If not, go watch that video. But I know that my common denominator is going to be 12. So because I know 12 is a multiple of 3. So over here, here's my setup. 2/3 times 4/4 is going to equal 8/12. So now I have a new fraction. So I'm going to change this 2/3 to 8/12. So just like normal subtraction with fractions, nothing crazy. You just have to change this fraction and to make it so it has a common denominator with this one. Okay, so that's all we've done so far. Found a common denominator. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is try to subtract. But this number is 11/12 and this is 8/12. We know we can't take a bigger number away from a smaller number. You can't take away more than you have. So we have to regroup. Okay, so here's the tricky part that we were talking about today. So the next step is regrouping. Okay, I have my asterisk there. This is our asterisk because you don't always have to regroup, but this time we do because this number, this 11, is bigger than this 8. So to regroup, we need to borrow a whole, just like normal subtraction. We regroup from the next category over. So I'm going to cross out my 3, and I'm going to turn that into a 2. Okay? So I just borrowed one whole. So a lot of people, here's where they screw up. So you can't do this. Here's where they screw up. They take that whole and they put a 1 in front of the 8 like this. You can't do that. Okay? You are grabbing a whole. You can't just put a 1 like normal subtraction. So what I mean by you're taking a whole away from this 3 is you're going to add 12/12 to 8/12. 12/12 is a whole, right? 100 over 100 is a whole. 3 over 3 is a whole. Well, the reason we chose 12 over 12 is because just like we said at the beginning, we can only add and subtract common denominators, right? Our common denominator is already 12. So that's why I chose 12 over 12. So let me go over that really quick one more time. We needed to regroup. So we crossed out the 3 and we changed that to a 2. We took that whole that we borrowed, that we're regrouping, and we're bringing it right here, but we're turning it into a fraction because that's the only way we can add it to 8/12. If you were to put a 1 right here and change that into 18, what you really just did is you just added 10/12 to 8/12. And 10/12 isn't a whole. So you really didn't regroup your whole. You only regrouped 10 of the 12 pieces. So that's why you don't put the 1 right here and you add 12/12. Or if this denominator was 6, you'd add 6 over 6. If it was 8, you'd add 8 over 8. Okay? So then we add 8/12 plus 12/12, and that is 20/12. Okay? So now we have a new fraction up here. So I'm going to erase this right here and change it to 20/12 and line it all up nice and neat so we can see it. So 2 20/12. So now we can subtract. So 20 minus 11 is 9, and our denominator is 12. Okay, so we subtracted. Now our next step is we're going to subtract the whole numbers. So we already regrouped from that 3, and all we have are 2 left. So don't forget to do that. And 2 minus 1 is 1. So your final answer is 1 9/12. Kind of. We can simplify 9/12, right? So I'm going to ask myself, what divides equally into both 9 and 12? And I know it's 3. So if we divide 9/12 by 3/3, we get 3/4. So now don't forget your whole number. So my real final answer is 1 3/4.